Hey YouTube. So, just wanted to share this absolutely bizarre mushroom experience that I had about 4 weeks ago. Uh, right now, I broke my foot skateboarding, so I've just been, at home, out of work, not being able to do anything. So, you know, after the first week of that, I was like, fuck it, let's have a ton of mushrooms, so let's have a trip. And always do your research about, what species of mushroom you're taking, because a lot of people are kind of old school about it and think, oh, the 5 grams is what'll do it, right? Well, actually, some mushrooms are much more potent than the cubensis, so I took 0.5 grams of a Mexicana species, Tampanensis, and those are much more potent than cubensis. So the 0.5, I thought I was taking a micro dose, that's the standard cubensis microdose. And that ended up being full blown. Well, it was pretty intense, some visionary experience there, and it was just bizarre beyond all understanding. But so let's get into it. God, my hands are freezing. It's really cold. Okay. So, take the mushrooms, 0.5 grams, in the silent darkness. On the come up, I knew it was going to be way more potent than a microdose, because I was looking at these, pictures of natural landscape and beautiful scenes of nature, mountains, rivers, lakes, and I was looking at this picture of a mountain, and it just turned into a freaking like snake face, like it just looked like a serpent looking at me, and I was like, at that moment I knew I was fucked. I knew I was fucked. Then it just slowly built and built, kind of an anesthetic feeling. All of this is not very interesting, but the visions were interesting, so let's get into that. The first vision I had kind of set the tone of the whole trip. Was I saw like this futuristic jet, like a space jet, sci-fi jet taking off. It was like very detailed, and I was just like, okay, we're lifting off. Then what happened was, it was just so bizarre. I saw, with my eyes closed, eye shades on, like a laser beam. It was like I was being painted. It was like laser beam hitting me. And like as that hit me, and as it found the center, it was like psh, locked on. I got hit with like a bunch. I could only describe it as, it was energy or information just rushed in. It was like just an expansion feeling, and I was like, but it was bizarre. It was like as if aliens were shooting a laser at me, sending information. And so it was already just very supernatural. And one of the next things that I saw was, there was like this jaguar that looked just, I don't know how to describe it, but it was just, had a lot of geometry and everything embedded in it. I see this jaguar, and I'm looking at what some in the entheogenic community, like Martin Ball, his non-dual interpretation. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe everything in the vision is me. It's some kind of form of me, right? So I'm like, oh, am I this jaguar? I ask it, and it it turns into like a kitten, and it's like, and I was like, am I the jaguar? And it just frozen, clear as day. It turned into a kitten, and it was like showing me, no, you are a kitten. You are very naive, inexperienced, and I am the jaguar. So I was encountering higher consciousness, I would call it. And that to me really proved, that was one of the steps that proved that it wasn't just me. Look at my notes a little bit. So, yeah, I've just been studying non-duality and just the question of, are you encountering actual beings? Are these beings higher consciousness from other dimensions? Or is this yourself? And as I went into this trip, the thing that really kicked it off, I smoked pot like about an hour and 10 minutes into it, and that kicked it off because right as I smoked that, went back into the eye shades, and this happened, and this is a thing that happens to a lot of people. It's happened to me multiple times, but it's always just astonishing every time it happens. Right before you break through, you get to, the only way I can describe it is, you break through into this realm of consciousness that's almost, it's a digital place, a dome. There's like this dome place, but it's just like a computer generated place. That's what it feels like to me. And there's like cryptic symbols in neon glowing light, like embedded in this dome. And you're like looking up at the ceiling of this dome. I've seen it, and Terrence McKenna's talked about it. He calls it the Elf Dome. Apparently, I mean, I've seen it on DMT also, and bizarre, man. So you see the Elf Dome. To me, it looks like a virtual reality, like intermediate place, like some kind of spaceship, or like the consciousness went somewhere, and that's like a thing that evolved. Anyways, the next part is just what's really astonishing is I enter into this just freaking pandemonium. Like, I go into this other digital space. My consciousness went to another reality, and in that space, everything is swirling around. It's the same electric digital world, and there's that same cryptic geometry everywhere, and fuck, man, like, then there's beings in there. There's beings in there, okay? Yeah, okay, non-duality, oh, it's all me. It's all me. But if you go up and ask somebody on the street, am I you? They're gonna say no. That's why when you ask any being if they're you, they're gonna say no, clearly. So, I don't believe these beings in there are me. It is me, maybe fundamentally, but that's not really useful. It's higher consciousness that we're contacting, and I'm quite open to that possibility. So I see these fucking, like, these digital shape-shifting figures come like just shooting up to me in this digital world that's spinning around, geometry everywhere, just completely bizarre, so much information. And I'm thinking with my being, because I practice like lucid dreaming and stuff, I've been in lucid dreams, and I'm like, everything in this is me. Like, I get it. Like, I literally am everything in the dream, and that makes sense. But this was different. This was way different, because when I was in there, I was like, okay, I'll be everything in here. I'll be all of this. This is me. Whew. The beings came right up to me. It was like, whew. Weird ancient Egyptian fucking Mayan god face, ever shape-shifting, whatever. And it's like, oh, you're me, huh? You want to be me? Well, let's see how much of me you can be. And it just went insane, man. What happened in there, I can't remember, but I just remember it was like, I just saw the ugliest, freakiest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, the deity face, the digital shape-shifting god was just like, became the most freakish looking thing I've ever seen, and it came closer and closer, and it was just getting closer and closer, and it was like, you want to be me? you want to be me? Let's see how much of me you can be. And just came right up in me, and I was just like, fuck that. No. So I opened my eyes, I was like, that's a little too much. A little too much for me. I'm not gonna be that. I'll let you be that for now. And god damn, man, shrooms are weird. So then I remember I was like, oh, I pulled back. I was like, oh. And I felt like I got the logo, so I was hearing a voice in my head, and it was like, okay, calm down. It's like, you're okay. It's like, come back. So I closed my eyes again, and like, oh my god, dude. That was a freaking extraterrestrial. It was an extraterrestrial. Like, it was showing me like this weird fucking like sea creature, spiky little thing. It was like, look at this. And this weird spiky creature, bugs. Like, I don't know what was happening in there, but it was trying to show me the freakiest shit, you know, that it could think of. Yeah, just the freakiest shit. And then like got to this place where then that was like the tone of the rest of the trip, was like absolutely out of this world extraterrestrial invasion of my mind. Like, I was just seeing all kinds of futuristic things, futuristic cities, habitats, like desert, like it was like built into the landscape, like this building. It was like this domes, this really cool like comic book futuristic stuff. Yeah, seeing giant like extraterrestrial looking like bug creatures and shit. Like, I don't know what was going on. It was so bizarre. Second.